a wrong access, and a compromised identity. These can do a massive damage to your enterprise SAP environment. We talked about SAP on Azure IaaS till now, in which we saw how you should set up your virtual machine, storage, etc. in Azure for SAP. Now let's explore another critical piece: identity. Who gets access to your SAP landscape? What can they do when they have access? Are they authorized and authenticated? Single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, Microsoft Entra ID, Active Directory, domain services, and how to provision access to Azure VM the right way. We are also exploring SAP Cloud Platform Identity Authentication, why it matters, and how it ties to the whole landscape. Sounds too much? Don't worry. We will break down identity services and understand them step by step. Let's get cracking. What is IdAM? It is a framework of policies, processes, and technologies designed to ensure that the right individuals or entities have appropriate access to organizational system, data, and resources. IdAM has 4 key components, namely authentication, verify the identity of the user; authorization, grant permission to the user based on his role; user lifecycle management, creation of a user, removal or deletion of a user if he left the organization; and compliance auditing, ensuring adherence to compliance like HIPAA, GDPR, and SOX by automating and reporting access reviews. Identity and access management has evolved significantly from traditional on-premises setup to modern cloud-based solutions. The new age IdAM are more flexible and scalable. Cloud-based IdAM are purpose-built and are much more easier to manage and are cost-efficient as well. They support advanced features like multi-factor authentication and single sign-on, and they are much easier to integrate with different technologies like SaaS and third-party applications. They give much more flexibility to the users as well as making sure data and resources are protected. What are the cloud solutions and how are they different? Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure AD, provides SSO and MFA, manages conditional access, controls privilege access management, enables granular control on resources using role-based access control. Welcome back to AZ-120 SAP Workloads on Azure series, and in this series we are exploring identity and governance for SAP on Azure. If you're new here, my name is Rajdeep. I am a Microsoft certified trainer and a solution architect, helping clients build amazing solutions every day, and we are on a mission to make learning fun as well as crack certifications in that process. Topic 1. The basics: authentication versus authorization. Let's start with these two words. You will hear a lot of this in the world of identity and access management. They sound similar but are quite different. It's like in an airport having a passport and a boarding pass. Let's understand. Now, authentication tries to answer the question about who are you. You enter your username and password and the system checks, do I know you? If yes, you are authenticated. Authorization, on the other hand, tries to answer what can you do. Now that the system knows who are you, it decides what you are allowed access to. Maybe you can read a file, maybe not. Think of it like this: your passport is authentication, your boarding pass is authorization. You need both of them to fly. Now let's talk about Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS. ADDS is your traditional on-prem identity system. Think of Kerberos, LDAP, group policies. It's perfect for tightly controlled enterprise environment. Microsoft Entra ID is built for cloud. It supports modern web protocols like SAML, OAuth 2, and OpenID Connect. This gives you a secure access from anywhere. So what's the big difference, you might ask? Well, ADDS is foundational for on-premises identity and device management, while Microsoft Entra ID is optimized for cloud-first modern identity scenarios. Microsoft Entra Domain Services bridges the gap, provides ADDS features in the cloud, synchronized from Entra ID. It is ideal for legacy applications or VMs that require traditional domain services but run in Azure. You can pause the video and go through the differences between ADDS and Microsoft Entra ID. Let's understand the concept of SSO and how is it beneficial. SSO stands for Single Sign-On. SSO lets you log in once using one set of credentials, and from that moment on, you are in. No more password fatigue or constant login screen. But what actually happens under the hood? Before SSO work, the identity provider and each application service provider set up a trust relationship, usually through certificates and secure protocols like SAML, OAuth, and OpenID Connect. You try to access an SSO enabled app. If you're not already authenticated, the app redirects you to the identity provider. In this case, Microsoft Entra ID. The identity provider then generates a token. Now this token is your authentication. The IDP checks your credentials and then issues a secure token like a SAML assertion or a JWT, JSON Web Token. This web token is signed and sealed with your identity. That token goes back to your browser and is handed over to the app. The app then verifies it, and using the trust relation, it provides access to the application. Now, any other app in that SSO ecosystem will accept your session via the same identity provider. No additional login required. The identity provider keeps your session alive centrally. You can jump between services without being asked to log in again until the session ends. Let's quickly recall the different protocols that we understood and their use cases. SAML, XML based, popular in enterprise identity scenario. OpenID Connect, built on OAuth 2, used for modern web apps, mobile app. OAuth 2, authorization framework for API and delegated access. Kerberos, ticket based, often used with Active Directory. And LDAP, lightweight directory access protocol, used with on-prem AD for SSO. Whether you are logging into SAP Fiori, Microsoft 365, or any custom application, SSO makes life easier, safer, and way more efficient. Let's understand another concept which is central to identity and authentication, which is called Multi-Factor Authentication, or MFA. It's a method that requires 2 or more independent verification factors before granting access to the system, app, or account. You have probably already used it, maybe without realizing it. Here's how it works. MFA is based on 3 categories of identity checks. Something you know, like a password or a PIN, answer to a security question. Something you have, like a smartphone or a security token, which receives a one-time passcode. And something you are, like biometric identifier, such as fingerprint, facial recognition, or voice patterns. So imagine logging into your bank account. You enter your username and password, then your bank sends a one-time code to your phone. Or maybe your phone uses a face to unlock or fingerprint. Even if someone steals your password without the second factor, they are locked out. MFA drastically reduces the risk of unauthorized access, and when paired with other identity services like Microsoft Entra ID, it becomes a powerhouse of protection for your SAP on Azure environment. Because in a world full of breaches, verifying who you are twice just makes sense. Topic 2, provisioning access to a VM. Now that we have covered the basics of authentication and authorization, let's dive into how we apply this in our Azure environment on virtual machine. Before we go ahead, if you like the content, do not forget to like, subscribe, and put a comment below so that the YouTube knows that the content is good enough. Please share this content with your friends or colleagues so that it helps the channel grow. It also motivates me to create more such videos. Alright, let's talk about authentication and identity in a hybrid SAP on Azure setup. You've got SAP on cloud, but your company's backbone, the Active Directory, is still on premises. What do? You extend your on-premises into Azure by deploying domain controllers on Azure VM. Think of it like opening a branch office. Same rules, same staff, just new location. Now a quick clarification. Don't confuse AD with Microsoft Entra ID, aka Azure AD. Entra ID is great for identity and access management, but it doesn't give you the full AD schema needed for many legacy or third-party SAP systems. You still need full AD if your SAP landscape relies on it. Entra ID works perfectly for SSO like Fiori, HANA, NetWeaver, or even SAP BTP, but it's not a one-to-one replacement. For performance, make sure that you place the domain controllers and SAP servers inside the same virtual network, ideally the same availability set. This localizes authentication traffic and avoids unnecessary network hops. Want a smooth single sign-on experience? Use Microsoft Entra ID for SSO to Fiori, SAP HANA, and NetWeaver. HANA even supports just-in-time user provisioning, and SAP BTP services plug right into Entra ID for SSO2. Centralized access is the name of the game. Use RBAC for controlling who can do what in Azure. Use LDAP, Kerberos, or Entra ID for VM level access, and OAuth 2.0 or SAP native services for app level control. Now that we have looked into ADDS, let's understand a bit more about our topic 3, which is Microsoft Entra ID. Now, Entra ID is the brain behind secure access to Microsoft's cloud ecosystem. It's Microsoft's cloud identity and access management solution, powering logins and secure access for services like Azure, Office 365, Dynamics CRM, and Intune. Entra ID is multi-tenant and highly scalable. Each company or organization gets its own isolated tenant, which acts like a secure container for users, groups, and apps. And it's massive, handling billions of authentications weekly across millions of directories. Now, the Microsoft Entra ID comes in some tiers. Basically, the kind of subscription which you take for Entra defines what you can do with the Entra. Let's understand that. The first tier is the free tier, which provides basic user and group management, SSO for Azure O365 and its SaaS apps, and on-prem sync. The basic tier adds app proxy for publishing on-prem web apps, group-based access, and self-service password reset. The P1 adds hybrid access, dynamic groups, write back for password resets, and Microsoft Identity Manager. And the P2 includes conditional access and risk-based authentication. It also gives you Privileged Identity Manager, PIM, for secure admin control. Each Azure subscription connects to one of Microsoft Entra tenant, but one tenant can power multiple Azure subscriptions. That's how you manage access across your whole cloud estate. And if you're using Active Directory on premises, you can sync your users and groups for a seamless SSO experience across both the world. Bottom line, Microsoft Entra ID isn't just a login service, it's a foundation for your cloud security. Another interesting topic is SAP Cloud Platform Identity Authentication. Let's understand what that is. SAP Cloud Platform Identity Authentication Service and ADFS work together to create an SSO bridge for users accessing applications protected by Microsoft Entra ID. That means users log in once and they get seamless access across SAP services and Microsoft managed applications. In this setup, SAP Cloud Platform Identity Authentication acts as a proxy identity provider for SAP application. The real identity authority here is Microsoft Entra ID, which takes the lead as a primary identity provider. The secure, scalable, and modern identity model that unifies user access across ecosystems, whether you're coming from Azure or SAP or both. So how this setup actually works is your SAP Cloud Platform Identity Authentication tenant is registered as a trusted application in Microsoft Entra ID. All your SAP apps and services like S4HANA, SuccessFactors, Fiori are configured and protected inside SAP IaaS Management Console. And the best part, by onboarding SAP IaaS as application via Microsoft Entra Marketplace, you don't need to manually configure SAML assertions or claim mappings for each SAP app. Everything is bundled, simple, centralized, and SSO ready. As the digital world expands, identity becomes a new security perimeter. From Entra to AD, from SSO to MFA. What you have seen today is not just a tech jargon, it's the foundation of trust, control, and resilience in cloud. Whether you're securing your users or SAP workloads, the power is in your hands. So build smart, build secure, and never compromise on identity. If you like the content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you are updated on any new videos which come in. Thank you.